his children died. As painful as it is, he knew as a high priest he has a job to be the channel for happiness. He paused, he took full responsibility, he fought himself to maintain joy of a high priest, and at the moment he went through his process, he had the gift and the merit. He saw what's going to happen to his children. He saw that Nadav and Avihu going to reincarnate into Pinchas, because what happened, to remind everybody, Pinchas is the portion for healing, and when Pinchas tried to stop the plague, he killed these two people, Cosbi and Zimri, that had sex in front of the whole nation, that caused plague. And actually by killing, he stopped the plague. And in that moment, his soul left him, and the soul of Nadav and Avihu entered into him. And Aaron, in that moment, Vayidom Aaron, saw that actually his children, because of their good intention, are everlasting. And then he saw that actually the reincarnation of Elijah the prophet, it's Nadav and Avihu. And Elijah the prophet is one of the only immortal beings up to date. Nadav and Avihu, actually Elijah the prophet exists in every circumcision he's visiting. So he's an everlasting force, an angel that reveals itself and manifests itself in this physical world. And he saw that because of their intention to bring Mashiach and to remove death, they connected actually to immortality. The people were not ready. That's the reason from the people point of view, they had to be perished. But from their point of view, they finished. So because he took responsibility, because he tried to maintain, he forced himself to maintain the joy of a high priest, he received the blessing to see that there's nothing to worry about. He had the merit to see it. Because one thing is to fight unhappiness, but to be able to have the merit to be able to see. And when you see, you're naturally happy already. That's a huge place which we all would love to be. Unlike Yaakov, without judging Yaakov, but Jacob, similar story. When his son Joseph was sold and he thought he died, okay, he fell into sadness for 17 years. Of course, he knew and he took responsibilities probably because I made my parents unhappy and so on. But nevertheless, the Zohar speaks because he lost his happiness, he lost the Shekhinah, the divine inspiration, and he lost the ability to see exactly where his son is. But, of course, we're not referring to Yaakov as a person, we're referring to the Yaakov within us. Because Yaakov had to be blind for 17 years for the purpose of allowing the process to take place. So just to pause a little bit, it's the hardest thing in the world, Vayidom Aaron. Now, by the way, Ari HaKadosh lost a son when his son was 13 years old as well. And Rabbi Chaim Vital saying about Ari, the reason he reached in such a young age his final correction, because he always been happy. So again, from this we're learning that he was able to maintain happiness there as well, and he probably saw where his son goes. It's the worst pain that one can go through in the world. But we don't want to go so far, Chas v'Shalom, but we have to understand a few things. Number one of the things that can help each one of us to maintain happiness, or at least some level of happiness, not to fall into depression, or let's say because we're human, let's say in a faster way than usual, we'll get back to happiness. Because we're human and we're normal, we're not going to say, but let's say faster than the usual course, is the belief that everything that I'm presented with, the Creator is giving me as well the strength to handle it. And if we don't have this belief, we'll never be happy. You know, one of the problems is we don't believe I'm capable to handle such a challenge, whatever challenge we're facing in our life. So part of Vayidom Aaron, that Aaron was silent and he paused, he had that conviction, if it's in my life, if it's in my movie, the Creator give me the strength to handle it. And that's the reason, God forbid, we cannot compare other people's challenges to other challenges, because we know whatever we're facing is precisely designed for us. Precisely designed for us. But the power of Vaidon, the power of pausing in the midst of hearing even a small misfortune or big misfortune, is the original concept of restriction that we're hearing so long about. But that's not restriction. Restriction means many things. Stop the reaction, believe it's for the good, assume responsibility, inject happiness, and try to see the big picture. All those things that I said is part of restriction. Maybe we should we write it down, what we said? So, we said restriction is stop the reaction, number one. Number two, believe it's for the good. Number three, try to take responsibility. Without being depressed, of course. Because taking responsibility helps us to get rid of judgment. When we say believe it's for the good, I want to add something in that step. Also believe the Creator gives me what I can handle. And the next one is try to inject, I will not say sometimes it's happiness, but sometimes is the lower level than happiness is acceptance and happiness. So our word, what is word a little bit below happiness? Because some things it's not about being happy, it's about being, try to inject contentment to it, or happiness to it, or acceptance to it. And the last one, ask the light to show me the big picture. And I would like a little exercise that maybe it's a little difficult, but if we can go back, if you try, because the past is in the present, and if you look back at your life in the last 5 years or 10 years, a moment that if you had the effort, because it's all about making the effort. Sometimes we make the effort and we feel we're failing, but the fact we're making the effort does reveal light. So go to a moment in the last 5-10 years, within the last 10 years, can be even last month if it was difficult, to moment that you wish you could apply the concept, and Aaron was silent. Vaidom Aaron. That moment of pause. You wish you could have applied. And what would you do differently about it? So if you can please go write it in your paper, and if you want to share it next to somebody, it will be even better. It's that moment of totally pausing that system. So I'd like to go to the beginning of the portion. Verse 4. Verse 4. רבי יצחק אמר, מפני מה בית פתיחה וסתימה, אלא בשעתה דברנה שתה להתחברה באורייתה, הרי פתיחה לקבלה לי, ולהשתתפה בעדי, ובשעתה דברנה סתים אינו מינה, ויח לאורחה אחרה, הרי סתימה מסתרה אחרה, כדאי אם יום תעזבני יומיים מעזבקה. ולא ישכח פתחה, עד יהיה טוב להתחבא בה באורייתה אנפין באנפין, ולא יתנשם מיניה. חלתה או הייתה פתחת קמי בני נסע ואחזה וקרא לאון אליכם אישים מקרא וגומר, וכתיב בראש אומיות תקרא בפתחי שערים בעיר המרע תאמר.
Why is the bet open on one side and closed on the other? He explains that when a man comes to attach himself to the Torah, it is open to receive him and to join with him, but when he closes his eye to it and walks in the other way, it is closed from the other side, like the bed, as it is written, "If you forsake me one day, I will forsake you too." There will be no opening until he returns to attach himself to it face to face and never abandons it again. Therefore the Torah first approaches men, calling to them, "To you, O men, I call," and also she utters her voice in the squares, she cries in the chief place of concourse, at the entrance of the gates. In the city she utters her words.
Okay, so what does it just begin? I have another important verse about it, but what the Zohar tells us, if you look at the first letter of the Torah, and we know in the first letter there's the DNA of the entire Torah there, it's the letter Bet. It's the letter Bet. And the letter Bet has an opening from this side, and it's closed from this side. So very simply, the Torah, the Zohar tells us that whenever a person opens himself and opens his heart to the Torah, we need to define what it means. So the Torah will be open to him. He'll be able to receive tremendous light and strength and comfort and energy and stimulation and excitement and miracles from the tools that the Torah gives us. All what we're dealing with is the tools that the Torah gives us. But at the moment that a person will close his eyes and his heart and his desires towards the Torah, suddenly he will feel nothing from the tools. He will feel disconnect from the tools. He will not feel any true attractions and any stimulations. And again, that's something we need every day to constantly ask ourselves, because that's dangerous. Constantly we need to ask yourself, where is my consciousness? Am I in a state of chasing growth, chasing the opportunity to strive to go to the next level? Or I'm just doing things from place, it's a burden for me to do it. And at the moment, I'm not in that state of naturally wants to push forward. My heart is open to learn for the sake of growing. And not just in one area, in all areas, really for the sake of growing. I need to tell myself, 1 second, I'm connecting to the blocked bet of the Torah. I need to open myself up. As it says, if you leave me one day, I will leave you double. Means that's what it says. If a man, that's the Torah telling us. I'm here to help whoever has a true desire to help himself. So, and we all of us went through periods in our life that we were blind even, that we are not really tuned in. And that's the reason we need to constantly ask ourselves the question, is my heart really open? And if not, I need to wake up, because that bet will become blocker and blocker and blocker, and eventually it will be very far and very difficult to reconnect and to return. Now I want to go to verse 6. Verse 6, which connects us to all the portion of this, the whole energy of this portion. רבי אלעזר אמר, גימל נאורין אינון עילאין קדשין דאחידן כחדה ואינון כללה דאורייתא ואילין פתחין פתחה לחולה פתחין פתחה למהימנותה ואילין ביתה דחולה ועל דה בית יקרו דאילן אינון ביתה ובגין כך שירותה דאורייתא בית די אורייתא אבה אסוותה דעלמה. In English, please.
Rabbi Elazar said, there are three supernal holy lights, namely three lines, connected together, in which the whole Torah is comprised. They open the gates to everyone and have influence on faith, which is Malchut, and they are like a house to everyone. Therefore they are called a house. For the three lines of the bet, alluding to the three columns of Zeranpin, are a house. The Torah commences, therefore, with that letter, for it is a house and a remedy for the whole world.
So we know the Torah, the bet consists really of three letters Vav. That's how Vav looks like. So if you see this is Vav, and this is Vav, okay? The straight line is actually Vav. And he tells us that the bet, the secret of the bet is from the word Bait. Bait is a house. So the three Vavs that together, that's what Zeir and Pin really is about. And those don't know, I'll explain again. So the three Vavs, the level of Zeir and Pin, when we connect to them, we create a house to manifest all the things in the Malchut, in the physical reality. Just to remind everybody, out of the Yud K Vav K, the Tetragrammaton, we know this is Chochma, Bina, this is Zeir and Pin, Zeir and Pin, and this is the Malchut, our world, the world of results, of manifestation. The Torah, and all the tools of the Torah, and all the spiritual actions, are tools to help us to connect to Zeir and Pin, to that level called Zeir and Pin. And by connecting to Zeir and Pin, that's how we achieve protection. All our fights is to overcome Satan for the sake of accessing Zeir and Pin. Now the letter Bet comprises the essence of the entire Torah, which is Zeir and Pin. Because what is Zeir and Pin? It's comprised of three columns: right, left, and central. If you know, Zeir and Pin is Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Each one of them is like three columns: giving, receiving, and central column. And the letter Vav represents them. And if you look at the scroll, the entire Torah, the beginning, the head of each column, starting with the letter Vav, besides 5 different times, which has a reason for it, but the hundreds of columns, okay, in the scroll, started with the letter Vav, because that's the essence of the Torah, to channel what we call Zeir and Pin, the letter Vav. Now it says, when a person is connected to Zeir and Pin, which is the three columns or the three lights, it's refuah lakol, it's a healing for everything. So there's a lot of things I want to speak about here, but that will lead us towards the subject of kosher, actually. But beforehand, that the whole idea of the third meal in Shabbat has the power for healing. The third meal in Shabbat is connecting to Zeir and Pin aspect of Shabbat, which is the central column aspect of Shabbat. Which the central column is the immunity. It's the immune system. Actually, in verse 3, which I didn't want to, it's a little deep, it speaks about Gimel. It speaks about that man was created in the tzelem and in the dmut of the Creator. Tzelem is shadow, dmut is image. Tzelem refer to Zeir and Pin, dmut refer to Malchut. And the healing comes from that part of it called the tzelem within us. The immune system receives the energy from the spiritual part called the tzelem. Is that thing that allows actually our soul to be retained within us. Is the tzelem, as the Rav call it, the God-like feature. That spark of the Creator exists within each one of us. It's called the tzelem. And when the tzelem is strong, it says that actually when a person dies, 30 days before a person dies, the tzelem starting to leave the body. And when the tzelem started to leave the body, when it will leave completely, there's nothing to hold the soldier, the tzelem. So even though if a person died in an accident, that a person died in a different strange ways, the death never happened suddenly, the tzelem start to disappear 30 days before the person died. Now, in the third meal of Shabbat, what we actually strengthening is the tzelem. Is that part of Zeir and Pin that connecting to the God-like feature within us, just to understand the importance of it. With the Amotzi, with the Kiddush, we're strengthening the tzelem within us, the Zeir and Pin aspect within us, which in charge of the immune system, which in charge of balance and sustaining. There's a saying in Hebrew, La sheker en raglaim. The lie has no legs. The lie has no legs. Leg actually, it's Vav, is Zeir and Pin. Truth The word truth, emet, we all know Kabbalistically, those who knows, emet connects to central column, which is ear and pin. So truth has legs, lie has no legs. Leg correspond to zir and pin, to the vav. Now what does it mean? What does it mean? It means that when a person connects to real truth, which is zir and pin, which is central column, he'll connect to balance and continuity. When a person connects to lie, sooner or later it will cause imbalance, either into lying to myself or lying to others. Sooner or later it will cause some level of imbalance and lack of stability and lack of continuity. That's what it will cause. Now, to remind us, and Rav Ashlag said it so many times, and the Rav always tell us this, the idea of lie or truth, it cannot be divorced from the context. It cannot be just, I'm telling you the truth now. I'm honest with you right now. I have to say, what do you mean you're telling the truth? You can't stand the guy. Of course you want to tell him what you feel about him. It's not necessarily the truth. Truth is not right information and wrong information. Truth is central column. The word truth, emet, is actually, Aleph is the first letter of the Aleph Bet, and Taf is the last letter of the Aleph Bet. So you have the central column in the middle. It's the central column. That's what emet really is about. He's not saying I'm telling you the honest truth. Truth means acting with restriction. That's what the truth really is about. So what is good? It's not just means getting rid of the idea for myself alone. I can say all the truthful information and data, but actually I don't care about the other person, and I'm not doing it for the sake of benefiting anybody. That's not the truth. That's a lie. Because I'm lying with my intention. Is wrong, is not in the same place. So the whole idea of this parasha, and we'll get, is the idea of Vaidom Aaron, which is central column, the ability to pause and to stop. The ability of the whole idea of that the Torah tells us about, the whole idea of the three vavs, that the bet consists of the three vav that represent the central column. And believe it or not, out of the entire portions, of the entire Torah, if you count the amount of letters from the beginning, and you get to the middle, let's say in the Torah, how many letters there are? 600,000 and something, if I'm not mistaken. Letters in the entire Torah. So the middle of the entire Torah in letters and in verses, by the way, is in this portion. And in what letters that is this it fall? You can say it's a coincidence. In the letter Vav, which is the large Vav. All the letters of the Torah are certain size. The only time there's a large Vav is in this portion. A large Vav on the word Gachon, which it says that what is Gachon in English? How do you translate Gachon? Like the snake is crawling in his Gachon, on his belly, okay? So Gachon, the word Gachon, that's how you write the word Gachon. Gachon. And the letter Vav suddenly is a large Vav. And this letter is in the middle of the Torah in letters. If you count the amount of letters this way and this way, it's exactly the middle of the entire Torah. Which again, the power of the Vav, the power of central column, the power of the middle of the entire Torah, the power of true balance, the power of circuitry, which we have the strength, we have the power in this parasha, that we all receive that power of resistance in an internal and an external way. Which resistance is to pause the reaction, resistance is to take the responsibility, resistance is to inject the faith and to see the big picture, that to know I can handle it and to be able to accept it. That power of resistance is the thing that reveals the light, and the power of strengthening the tzelem within us, which is the immune system.